If you guys enjoy what I do, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it's free and easy to do. Welcome to my channel where we cover the lore of Final Fantasy XIV. We cover the stories both big and small, the epic and the cute, the silly and the tragic. I hope you all enjoy the ride, and welcome to the Chronicler of Lore. There are some super interesting stories in Final Fantasy XIV, which is one of the main reasons why I started this channel in the first place. But out of all of the stories, I obviously like some of them better than others. So here's my list of my top 5 favorite stories in Final Fantasy XIV. Number 5 is the story of the ninja. Ninja has been one of my favorite jobs since I played Final Fantasy Tactics years ago. Actually, it's been decades now. I like the fighting style, and the characters made it way cooler in Final Fantasy XIV. All of the rogues are cool and well written, with unique personalities that I'm glad you get to keep seeing even after the story switches over to the ninja side. Now while the rogues are cool, the real MVP is Karasu. The guy is completely nuts, and the way he gets on Oberon's nerves makes every scene the two of them are in together feel like a buddy cop show, even though they are technically enemies. Now number 4 is the story of the Shadows of Ma'at. Now I love all things Voidsent, so when you link the story of Voidsent with pirates, you get into some interesting bits of storytelling. Leofar and the Red Bills remind me of the Rogues, which is probably why I enjoyed being around them so much. But going through the Ma'aki ship, the Void Ark, where they very stupidly were using the Voidsent to power the thing and finding the very weird familiar Kite Sith before fleeing for your lives when Diabolos attacks, all leads into some very interesting storytelling with a whole lot of characters that I really hope we get to see more of later. Now the third on my list is the story of the Dark Knight. This story is primarily about the internal struggles of the Warrior of Light, from the growing irritation at how people constantly get you to carry out the most mundane of tasks, to the regret over being strong but still too weak to save a lot of your friends. It was one of the stories that hit closest to home, because while we aren't all superpowered warriors, we have all dealt with grief, loss, and failure, which is honestly why I think so many people love the Dark Knight story. It's definitely the reason that I like it. Number 2 is the story of the Red Mage. For starters, outside of Estinian, Zerun Tia is my favorite character. The guy has been involved with everything, literally, even trained Alizé. So when he offers to train you as a Red Mage, it leads you to finding Arya, who turns out to be a descendant from a bloodline of mages who have Voidsent blood. And that leads you to fighting a super Voidsent named Lilith, and the story becomes extremely interesting. But again, I really like Voidsent, and that's what made this story one of my favorites. Now number 1 on this list is the return to Ivalice. Final Fantasy Tactics was probably my favorite Final Fantasy game, period. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that a few times before by now, but just in case you didn't know, now you do. The War of the Lions was a well put together story, and having it brought over into Final Fantasy XIV was a dream come true. Of course, they made some slight alterations to make the story fit more into the world of Final Fantasy XIV, but the way the story played out, getting to visit some of the locations from the world of Ivalice, and getting to fight people like Agrias and TG Sid were major nostalgia moments for anyone who enjoyed that game. And the ending, where you get to see Ramses' entire team, was perfect, which is why this was my favorite story in game by far. Now if you want to know more about these particular stories, they've all been covered on the channel, so go and check them out. And tell me in the comments what your favorite stories were in Final Fantasy XIV. Also be sure to like, share, subscribe, join the Discord server, and if you really want to support, you can become a member of the channel. So until next time guys, later.